Hey. Okay, well, I went to see Alien Romulus this week. I can't remember what day. But I thought it was pretty good, so I thought I would do a review of it. Well, that's not why I'm doing a review of it, but it was pretty good, and I am going to do a review of it. I'm doing this one to camera rather than the usual way I do reviews, which is essentially a slideshow with me talking over it. I don't know why I decided to do it this way, but just fancy the change, basically. Given that I am doing this in a different way, the content will be different from my other reviews in terms of they won't be so, if I can use the word, academic. They won't be so much background or anything like that. It'll be more about what I felt after seeing the movie and stuff like that. I got a bunch of notes, so if I look away, that's why. So, right, here we go. Personally speaking, I loved it for what it was. Does that mean it's best film in the world? No. Does that mean it's best film in the Alien franchise? No, not at all. But I also think that's not necessarily what it was trying to do. I don't think it was trying to be the best thing in the world or even the best Alien movie. It was just Fede Alvarez's interpretation of the Alien series, really. There won't be any spoilers, nothing like that. And the most I'll say about the story is that it's a best of, to a large extent, which isn't necessarily a negative thing. You look at things like The Force Awakens, for example. It was very close to A New Hope, the very first Star Wars film. So doing things that have been done before is okay, I think, as long as you bring a different personality to it, which I believe Fede Alvarez did. The feel of the movie is different to any of the other Alien movies, I think. As different as he is from the other directors. Now, having said that, it doesn't all work. There's one part in the film that is, it's cringe, frankly. Well, I found it to be cringe, but, I don't think that's necessarily terrible either. It's just going to make people roll their eyes a little bit and think, oh, for fuck's sake. And, why not chuck that in? It's part of the human experience. I've heard it described as if a cover artist had done a cover of the Alien franchise, and I think that's about right. Frankly, though I wouldn't put it quite that strongly, but I can, it has that element to it, certainly. Above all, it looks pretty beautiful, and the music is great. I really like the music. There's a lot of choral notes in it, which the other scores for the other films haven't really had, so in a way it's a different type of horror movie score, really. It's more a thing that you traditionally get in religious horror, for example. So whether that is playing into it as like a mythical element, I don't know. Whether that intention was there, maybe. I don't know about that, but that could be part of it, I guess. I can't pronounce the guy's name that wrote the music, so I'm not going to butcher it here. some of the acting now isn't the best in the world. I mean, for me, there are two, maybe. Well, there are two actors that really stand out. There are three leads, two of them really stand out. And the supporting cast are good, but especially for this kind of film, which, you know, sometimes the supporting cast can be pretty ropey, but I think they did alright. They did what, you know, they did their jobs, I think. And one actor in particular I thought did extremely well, because that wasn't necessarily an easy role to play. I think it was deceptively difficult, in fact. Or maybe not even deceptively difficult, but I think it was an interesting role, and not one that we've really seen that much of, certainly not in this series, in the Alien franchise. Yeah, another thing is that apart from with one character who's got conflict with a number of the other characters, there's very little conflict between the characters themselves, which I think is good. I think that can, for me at least, hurt a film a little bit, because the characters become too caustic and acerbic, and I just don't want to watch it, frankly. It's why I don't like watching TV series as well. I know, you know, it's a real thing, but it's just a personal preference of mine. I don't like engineered conflict in movies. Usually it's overwritten or just put in there as, I don't know, really, some kind of, not a gap filler, but something akin to that. It's kind of, don't get me wrong, it's usually part of the story, usually has a story element to it, but I think it's better if you can write a story without it, and they manage to do that here for the most part, which I think is good. So for the weaknesses then, the most obvious weakness is that the aliens don't show up for a while. That is a weakness in my view. I'm not going to say how long before they come into it, because it kind of becomes obvious when they're going to come into it as you watch the film. So that could be a little bit of a spoiler, I guess, and I don't think it's necessary anyway. But aside from that, it doesn't. The one thing that a lot of people have said, and which I agree with, is that yes, as I say, it is a best of. It doesn't bring anything new to the table. Now, as I said before, while it doesn't have to, because it's inevitably going to be different depending on who's directing it, because their personality, their style, and often the budget as well, and how they use the budget is going to be markedly different from what has come before. But I mean, I think that is a valid criticism, that it doesn't really do anything new, and I would hope that if they go on to make more films in the Alien series, that they do, you know, show maybe a little more ambition and give the film maybe a little more purpose to it. So I hope that this isn't going to have Star Wars syndrome, basically, where you've got the first movie, it's kind of like a recap of the first movie of the original trilogy, and then that kind of gets you caught up, and then they kind of in some ways hit the same beats in every following movie, and do so in a way that is not necessarily good or impressive. Where else I go in? Yeah, so... But I mean, like I said, we do get some good moments of horror and tension, but again, there's nothing really new here, especially towards the end. I mean, it becomes quite obvious that, you know, it is kind of a recap, if you like, sort of bringing the audience up to date as if a new period of the franchise is about to begin, which would be good if it's, as I say, if it's got purpose and if it's got a bit of ambition. So basically, this character now at the end, let her not be in stasis for decades, and no more prison planets or fucking cloning, please. You know, we've seen all that once in the series. We don't need to see it again. We don't even really need another bunch of tall, bald guys. You know, like the engineers. I mean, yes, it was a good idea, but I don't know. Prometheus was just too cold for me, I think. Really. And Covenant was... Well, I didn't think much of Covenant at all. The pacing was all over the place. Which leads me to the pacing of this film, which I thought was a bit quick for this kind of movie. You know, that's one of the things about the first three Alien movies that I really liked, was that time was taken. You know, you could linger on some of the horror elements, but even more on the psychological elements. I mean, Ripley was incredibly well thought through and well acted and well realised character. In my view, probably one of the best heroines in film, and I'm not going to be alone in thinking that, am I? What I would say as well, yeah, there's one decision that one of the characters makes, again towards the end of the film, that's so fucking stupid. You just think, well, why are you doing that? What would make you do this? And so there's a logic problem towards the end of it as well, which is, I mean, it is what it is, it's a film, but one thing about the Alien films often is they don't have logical holes. I mean, like Ripley going back for a cat in the first movie could be seen as a logical hole, but given who that character is, would she go back for a cat? Yes, absolutely. It's absolutely believable because of the character that's been set up. That isn't the case here with this particular decision, and I think it's ridiculous. It's probably the worst thing about the film, this one decision that character makes. Now, obviously the film has been quite divisive, which means exactly shit, because everything is divisive today, isn't it? I mean, well, everything is divisive, and not just divisive, aggressively divisive. Like, for example, I was reading on Twitter earlier today about, what was it? It might have been yesterday, about something to do with the Acolyte, the Star Wars series, and how it's not going to be renewed, and some people are getting so out of their tree about it, and some people are getting nasty about the series and stuff. Again, it was entertainment, that's all, really. And yes, you know, fanboys have their place, but, and I'm a fan of things as well, but I think at the end of the day, to actually get to the point where you're getting aggressive about it, chill the fuck out, man. But yes, which is kind of related to the aggression aspect. I think that, you know, I would try and avoid what critics say, and this could be said for any genre really, that it's perfectly fine to like what you like. So say if you like something other people don't like, great. It's more for you at the end of the day. What are you complaining about? And if you hate something that other people like, that's fine too. Not everybody's going to like the same thing, and we shouldn't. Really, nothing is universal because it's not meant to be. I mean, our likes and dislikes are as diverse as we ourselves are as human beings, and it should be that way, I think. As I say, personally, I thought it was very entertaining, and probably no more than that. But at the end of the day, it's a piece of media, it's a piece of entertainment, it's a piece of escapism. Does it actually need to be any more than entertainment? And I think the answer to that is no, it doesn't need to be. It's nice if it can be, but it doesn't actually need to be, in my view. But as I say, having said all of that, I do hope that if, this is an entertaining film, it's good to get the audience caught up, the generational reintroduction to the franchise. However, I personally think they're going to need to step it up a little bit if they're going to go forward with it, because, we just need to see something new. I just think that it would be nice to see something new anyway. If much new can be done in the Alien series now, because you look at the films, you look at the books, you look at the graphic novels, you look at this and that and whatever. So much has been done because it's such a great IP over the years. So much has been done, and I think that maybe there's a little bit of a sense of can they come out with ideas that powerful in Hollywood anymore? I don't know. I don't know if because it's quote unquote easier to get into the media now with things like YouTube, for example, and making short films has become a lot easier for people and stuff. Is there the same hunger to be a director in certain people now? Because you can do it. You don't need masses of money, you just need to make a basic film. All you need is a decent DSLR and some like-minded people and a script, and off you go, basically. But yeah, so I hope there's a little more ambition to it if they go ahead and do anything else with the series, basically. Would I like to see them do something with it? As long as it doesn't end up ruining what came before, yes. But then even if it does, you've still got the first 3 movies, which are awesome. Anyway, having said all of that, which is quite long-winded, longer than I thought it would be, I hope you've enjoyed this review of Alien Romulus. And please like, share, comment and subscribe if you think I've earned it. And I'll speak to you soon. Thanks very much as always, and bye for now.